And for more, let's welcome in former Georgia Republican Congressman Jack Kingston. Alongside him is senior contributor for the Federalist, Ben Weingarten. Gentlemen, great to see you this morning. Congressman, I want to start with you. President Trump's SAVE Act set to have a Senate vote on Wednesday, and some House Republicans are threatening to oppose all Senate-passed legislation until the SAVE Act is passed. Texas Congressman Brandon Gill, he wrote this on X. He said, "I'll be voting no on all Senate bills other than DHS funding until the Senate passes the Save America Act." Jack, what do you make of this, and how important is this to get the SAVE Act passed?
Well, I think any pressure point you can put on the Democrats in the Senate who are holding up the SAVE Act, I think it's good. There are going to be bills which Democrat senators want to get done. They've got to get it through the House, and if Republicans are going to vote no on it, that's one way to get to the bargaining table. And, of course, Republicans have already been to the bargaining table saying we'll put in body cameras, we'll give more training, we'll work closer with the local police. So everything that the Democrats have asked for and demanded, basically Republicans have addressed, except for the one thing, and that is full disclosure of who the ICE agents are so that protesters can go to their house, threaten their families, and so forth. So, but I think what Congressman Gill is doing is playing just as hardball as the Democrats have been, and might be enough pressure to get it done. However, I just think the whole thing is outrageous at a time of war to be shutting down the Department of Homeland Security.
Yeah, it is mind-blowing. It definitely is. I know President Trump is increasing pressure on Senate Majority Leader John Thune to get the SAVE Act passed. But in order to do so, it needs Democrat support to reach 60 votes, with most outspoken in the party, of course, Chuck Schumer, voicing his opposition. So let me ask you this, Ben. I mean, how can Thune pivot on Wednesday to make his case stronger to get this legislation passed? And what do you think he's going to do?
Well, I think in terms of what he's going to do, let's start there. Senator Mike Lee and he's sort of been the leader of the Save America Act push in the Senate, has talked about sort of a hybrid effort to take this to the floor and maybe execute something like a talking filibuster. So we'll see ultimately what the threshold looks like and what kind of parliamentary procedures come into play here. By the way, the talking filibuster, part of that is let's have an open and honest debate before the American people and demerits of this legislation. And that is the weakest part of this for the Democrats. This is an 80-20 or 90-10 issue. Democrats opened the borders. Millions of people came here unvetted, unaccounted for. We're not secured against it. We have an election system where there are hundreds of thousands of people who have had to be purged from the rolls because the rolls are not kept up to date often by state authorities. And the fact of the matter is that the process we have now to register to vote, forgetting about even not showing photo ID at the voting booth, but to register to vote, we have an honor system. You check a box and say, under penalty of perjury, I attest I'm an American citizen. That is not a sufficient system with sufficient safeguards when you've totally broken down any other integrity in the process. And you have people in many states who basically get automatically registered to vote. The presumption is you're a citizen, essentially, and you get to vote when you get a driver's license, and you don't need to be a citizen to get a driver's license in many states. And Democrats have said they want to ensure that non-citizens ultimately can vote, and in some states they have voted on non-citizens, including illegal aliens, voting. So you put all that together, the key pressure point is, why, Democrats, do you oppose building in safeguards to the system when you broke the borders and you eviscerated and eroded the integrity of our system and our sovereignty? That has to be put on Democrats. Republicans should press this on the merits to the hilt. What's more important than the integrity of our vote and ensuring there's no foreign interference in our system? That would be the case I would recommend they make.
Yeah, and of course, all this is happening under the partial government shutdown. The Department of Homeland Security wrote this on X, calling attention to the chaos that the Democrats are causing and how it's affecting TSA agents. TSA agents are being forced to work without pay for the third time in nearly 6 months. This Democrat-caused chaos has forced more than 300 of these officers who are on the front lines protecting American travelers to leave the force. Enough is enough. When, oh when, will the Democrats come to the table and compromise with the Republicans so TSA agents no longer have to worry about where their next paycheck will come from? This is a big question that's on my mind, Jack, and it's just getting worse day by day. What do you think?
You know, Tracy, it's not just TSA. TSA is the more visible of it, but FEMA, if there's a federal disaster, you're going to find out what it's like to have a shutdown FEMA. And then there's the Cyber Infrastructure Security Agency that keeps the federal government programs and systems running and keeps them from having viruses and so forth. And during the time that we're at war, don't you think that state actors are trying to hack into government computers and shut them down and cause disruptions? Absolutely. And yet the Democrats have shut down the Cyber Infrastructure Security Agency. It's just bizarre to think about. So, yeah, you know, I went through the airport line yesterday. I felt very bad. I felt like I wanted to buy a cup of coffee for every TSA agent that was there because most people, I think it's the number is something like 60% of Americans cannot afford an unexpected $1,000 expenditure, broken down car, dryer, washing machine, something like that. And that includes TSA agents. And we are just being calloused if we don't consider the human factor of these type politics that the Democrats are playing.
Yeah, almost out of time, but Ben, I want to give you the last word on that because it seems like they really don't care about the American people. That's what it seems like to me anyway.
It's disastrous on the politics. Much more importantly, it's disastrous on the merits. And to the point of this conversation, we're effectively at war with Iran right now. They've had agents, dozens of Hezbollah prosecutions in this country, other related prosecutions as well. It's imperative that the airline infrastructure be protected. And CISA, which I've been critical of in other contexts, but when it comes to protecting vital infrastructure, coordinates with the private sector as well. You don't think that Iran wants to target private sector entities right now to try to get them to make the American government beg off this offensive? Of course they are. Democrats are being dangerous, very dangerous with our national security here.
All right, we're going to leave it right there. Congressman Kingston, Ben Weingarten, great to be with you both this morning. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.